Hi, I'm Sherry Damaris, and welcome to Macro Magic. And today I have two wonderful people with me, Michelle Gindhart and Michael Firsow from Alchemy. So Alchemy is this very special place that I just discovered in Chadds, Pennsylvania, which offers all sorts of soul-related transformational workshops, meditation, a place to really go and sort of soul search. And your stories were so fascinating. I thought I'd have you both on the show. Denise and I started talking about a really hot topic, which I thought viewers would want to hear about, is how to find the man of your dreams in more of a spiritual sense. I have lots of friends that come, ever since I do the television show, Sherry, I'm changing my life. I'm eating better. I'm meditating a little bit. I want to find that special guy that sort of reads Deepak Chopra books and listens to Wayne Dwyer and is open to all this new age stuff. How do I go about it? So Denise and I put our heads together and we thought we'd brainstorm a little bit about that during the show, as well as learn a little bit more about your center.
Thank you.
So welcome to the show. It's great
you.
to have you. And you guys have a story that's very inspirational about how you met too.
Yeah.
So we'll talk a little bit about that. So how did you get started in all this?
On the spiritual path, I spent many years in corporate America and was living a fast life, tired, and needed to rejuvenate, and was having just minor health issues but not feeling my best. So, went into food and meditation, yoga, and then studied with a spiritual teacher in India, actually several all over the world, but this one happened to be in India. And met Michael there.
India?
He was living in India. I was here in Philadelphia. It was a long-term friendship, and it was just a friendship, and was really complete with being on my own. I was divorced for 22 years, raised my kids, just not looking for a relationship at all was complete, and just kind of completing that rest of my life. And we were building an ashram in India. I was here doing the marketing and some of the fundraising, and Michael was in India
running the organization.
Running the organization, and we became great friends because he was a monk, so I was.
And you were a monk.
Yes, a brahmachari. Hindu monks called a brahmachari. As I was in the Vishnu Swami order of the brahmachari in India.
And how did you get interested in that, or how did that?
I think it started. I was a mortgage banker for 15 years, and I just wasn't, you reach that point in your life where you have money, you have clothes, you have car, and you have success, and you're not happy. And you think that those are the whole tenets of what I built my whole life about, and then I'm not happy. I was the same robot, same thoughts every day, the same concerns, so I was like, well, how do I start?
Wow.
And you mentioned Deepak Chopra. It was one of the first books that I picked off the shelves and said, okay, boom, meditation is like the only thing that's getting me out of that same loop of thoughts. So I was on that search for a couple of years, meditating, reading the book, self-help, and then I got a book called Autobiography of a Yogi, which is by Paramatma.
I love that. I visited his center in California.
I know, so have I.
Yes, that's wonderful.
So I studied with Yoga. I read his book. Boom, I was done after that, right? So after that, the inner calling was separating from the corporate America. And I got moved around by Yogananda from a couple different teachers, and then I ended up with a teacher that offered me to go to India, and I ended up they offered me to become a Vishnu Swami in the lineage, a 4,000-year-old lineage of Vishnu Swami. It's like a whole different caste system over there. It's something we can't even really adjust to, but that was my whole life was single-pointed self-realization, right? Goal of God. That's what an ashram is in India, so that's what I was doing, and we were building this ashram, and met Denise. We needed a global support, from everybody.
Everybody, okay.
Yeah.
And then the two of you met in India, but then you also both moved back to Pennsylvania?
I was never in India.
Oh.
Our friendship was all via Skype and phone.
Oh,
And so we
okay.
had a team on stateside. We actually had an international team, but Michael was our anchor in India. And, you know, we were working on, you know, creating energetically the intention for the ashram, raising money, how to communicate it, you know, who, you know, getting sponsorships. So,
Right.
so it was a plan to construct a building and raise money. And we would just talk after our group calls or meditate, or, you know, and then Michael, you were moved to Boston to kind of during the project, he got moved to Boston. And so at least we were in the same time zone and in the same country. And again, it was just a deep friendship and someone, you know, for the ladies out there, if you've been through, you know, different relationships, you know, if you can't trust a monk, you know, who can you trust? So he was like, so I just
It's almost like Sex in the City sitcom.
you know, so
where
it
she
was
so
just,
lost.
you know, so I was just unguarded and open and vulnerable, and there was just that deep sweetness in our friendship. And it did not come from a sexual place. It was a deep heart admiration and respect. And so neither one of us really expected it to kind of turn into more. And
A relationship.
so Michael was teaching in Boston, and we started having these feelings, and I think we were kind of confused. Like, what do we do? I mean, what do you do with this? And I didn't want to be
Out of integrity.
out of integrity or responsible for him leaving his spiritual path. I mean, I understood that and honored him for that. So he needed to go off and explore that and figure out where he
Yeah.
was.
I think when you do that inner exploration, for me, I'd been working on myself for so long
me
that that
too.
connection with the higher self, that connection with the heart, I wasn't at a place where I was still needing something outside of me to make me complete.
Yeah.
You know, I had that
They said
sense
when you
of
go
strength.
in, you're just, there's so much in there that
That's
you can
how-
spend a
yeah,
lifetime just
yeah.
exploring yourself. Yeah.
And that's what it is. It's like that became crystallized. And hers became crystallized because she had been doing her path for like 7 years.
More
and
than
I was
that,
celibate
yeah.
for like 13 years. She was for like seven
I
or
was just
something.
not even interested in a
And
relationship.
we just, and that wasn't that we didn't want it. You know, as a monk, you just kind of sit on it a little bit, like, okay, that's so confusing. Things aren't working out. Okay, well, we'll just work on self-realization, right? But they're still there, right? And so the alignment kind of happens. The inner alignment kind of happened, like a divine relationship, I guess they call it, or sacred relationship. And then there's a couple. You're in the bliss and the love and all of that is so amazing. It's like
such
you
a
want
more
everyone.
meaningful.
You want everyone to have that.
Yeah, we were just, I think both of us taken back, you know,
From it.
and we had seen each other twice physically in groups, like during meetings, but we had never sat, you know, we didn't hang out together physically. And so our relationship was really Skype, and we had never touched, we had never hugged,
Wow.
you know.
So it's more just on a spiritual.
It was really in the heart, and it's almost like when you have a child and you look at that baby, this overwhelming
Beautiful.
just love, you know, just seeps through your essence. And it was that, but on an even
Deeper.
bigger level, that it was like, what is this? So, yeah.
Deeper than children?
So what advice do you have for that person who's like looking for that and hasn't really found it yet? So someone who is open spiritually, interested in eating better, taking care of their life, maybe separating a little bit from the corporate world, doing some soul searching, but also wants to find their partner in the mix.
That's an awesome question because we're all doing that. Everyone's on that path, right? Everybody's doing that.
Yeah.
And what it really comes down to for me, and I'll let you speak for you, but it's about self-love. We still got those patterns going from when we grew up that we're still not, we don't love ourselves. We want to learn, we'll serve everybody else, right? But inside, we just don't have that love. And when you get that and you really get grounded in that, then you can give the love to everybody. You can give it to your children, you can give it to your partner, you can give it to your job, your coworkers. For me, that was the kind of the tipping point for me.
And as a female, and we touch on this, so many of the spiritual programs and have a lot of women and not very many men. And what's interesting with Michael, because he is very masculine, he draws an enormous amount of men in our work because they're seeking just as much as the women. We just haven't found each other in that space.
They're seeking, but oftentimes I think because they don't have role models, they're a little confused. Like I know among my circle of friends, they'll say, "Oh, I don't really want to date. I don't want to go back to like the TV watching sports." Enthusiast who, is numb to all this spiritual stuff. And they get frustrated because they think that's the typical guy. They don't realize that underneath it, they just need some prodding, they need some encouragement. Especially what I found being a professional chef and cookbook author is they need more prompting. They need more encouragement. A lot of them have heart disease and heading towards cancer. And so they really need some education and role models.
Yes. So I would say for women looking, that internal focus, when you really get complete within yourself and you're just in a bubble of really honoring your body, loving yourself, loving the way you look, not trying to be something you're not, or embracing your age. I mean, it's all of those things, and not looking. It's really, divine feminine
Just
is the
being.
receptive energy. When you align this and your heart is open and you've done your work, it draws to you. I always use the analogy, the bee finds the flower. The flower isn't out there marketing for bees or raising a sign, come here, pollinate, I mean, it literally just is the law of nature. So female is receptive energy. The male is the action. And we need each other because the males provide the structure for the female to create. And it's what nature, our whole planetary system and everything is based on
the attraction.
So we,
yin and yang.
Because we were, the divine feminine was, suppressed and held back, and we had a very patriarchal system for so many years in our world. That's reemerging now, and the balance of that's coming back. So the men, as the women learn to embrace their divine feminine, because we had to act like men a lot of times to survive in our world.
Yes, and very, I saw that in high school kids as I was a guidance counselor, very pushy girls, pushing them in the relationships, and very, very opposite guys being more standoffish and weak, and that imbalance was created. We're going to break for commercial break, but when we come back, I want to talk more about your center and then some of the programs that you're now offering, because it was just so exciting to hear that it's just close by the Philadelphia area, and hear more about your story.
Good, thank you.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Adding your company logo and website on screen during your interview will allow viewers to recognize your brand instantly. Incorporating images and video clips is another great way to showcase your product during your live segment. Let viewers see how good you really are. And most importantly, there's you and your interview. For less than the cost of a newspaper, direct mail, or a magazine ad, you can leave our studio and within 48 hours have a permanent digital copy of your live segment to link to your social media, embed into your company website, or use in email marketing. Investing in your brand is so very important, and we can't wait to have you as a guest.
Hi, I'm Sherry Damaris. Welcome back to Macro Magic. Today I have with me Denise and Michael, and we're talking about the Alchemy Center that they created in Chadds Ford after meeting through Skype in India. So we were talking about relationships, sometimes how difficult it is really when women transition a little bit into the spiritual realm and start eating better, how to find that special mate. I have so many girlfriends that ask me those questions.
Yeah.
And so we were talking about your story about how you met. And Michael, you had some information that might be helpful in terms of your viewpoint from the guy's end of things.
Well, for me, I speak for me, and I think I speak for a lot of men in this way. It's we're so emotionally closed down. It's not that we even know we're emotionally closed down, because we're kind of mentally based to begin with, but it's like we're not. Our society doesn't culturally embrace us or care for us to speak and to show our emotions and to feel vulnerable. Vulnerable's not good, right?
Wow.
I have some friends now that will never cry. They won't say I love you, and they're like really far on the spiritual path, like yogis,
Oh my gosh.
But it's like that's what's holding us down, right? And you see that right now, these
and
movies
you
like,
always have to feel like you're powerful and you're aggressive and you can
you got it all
handle
together,
everything.
right?
Never weak.
Don't want to be weak. Don't want to show any type of you got to handle, because that's really what women want too, right? People want to be taken care of.
No
They're all
vulnerability
right?
allowed.
So that's what is so important for men to just tap into, is to tap into feeling their emotions, letting the emotions move. Like you see Mr. Roberts' Neighborhood, that movie that just came out. We just had this beautiful girl, one of our courses. She's like out of college, she's teaching children, and she says one of her most important things to teach the children is so that they can express themselves emotionally.
Oh, wow.
To me, that was like, wow, she gets it
Well,
already.
Yogananda was all about that too. The really holding in essence in your heart the emotion, being in touch with your emotion. And I feel that when I teach cooking or diet to people too, men are very attached to the meat, because they think it gives them a lot of power and protein and energy, and it's a little scary going vegan or eating less meat.
Emotions are they're like the spice of life. They're the sweetness of life. It's when you have emotions moving through you, it's to enjoy life with them, right? Not to use them to use them for power or for strength, or it's to enjoy life with them. And so it's part of the thing that we saw about moving from that immature expression, male masculine, to the more of the masculine, being able to be okay in those energies.
Sit with them.
Yeah, sit with them, exactly.
And we talk about them. I mean, we have regular morning, how you have Morning Joe here, it would be our Morning Joe, is checking in and being able to have...
How do you feel today?
And difficult conversations. I was hurt by this, or this showed up for me this way. And so many times we stuff it because we're afraid to hurt it, and then it builds and it becomes resentment, and so we had to, when we came together, really make a commitment to be transparent with each other and be in integrity and be authentic, and we're not perfect. I mean, nobody's perfect, and look at my stuff. So if something's up for me and Michael is my mirror, I'm so grateful that he can show me what I'm working on.
Well, also, if you're in the present now, which is the only time to be, and you're looking at how you create your life, you better be in touch with your emotions, because that's what you're creating, or that's what you're attracting, like the law of attraction. So just being in touch hour by hour, day by day with how you're feeling is very important.
And two, the time, and we explored a lot of this, of being alone, in the yogis in the caves and all these lineages and history of that, served a very important purpose. And now we're in a time when men and women, the male, female, the positive, negative, are coming together to co-create. That's what community is. So we're seeing a lot of men and women in divine relationships line up really fast.
So we were talking about suppression of sexual energy, which I think is really pertinent to what you were just saying, that these young girls and boys grow up with such a suppression put upon their shoulders about who they are and what they're about and what they're feeling, because they're not allowed to express too many feelings. Being a guidance counselor, I saw it all the time. You know, they have all this spunk and energy in them, and they're told to sit down, be quiet, you know, do your homework. And so encouraging them to open up, relax, you know, get to know themselves. And we had talked about encouraging like yoga, but yin yoga, a more relaxing yoga to open up those chakras.
Yeah.
And
We'll speak a little about the suppression. We can do that.
Well, that energy, when you open up that heart, that sacred energy, the sacred divine energy that happens, the divine relationship energy, it naturally moves the kundalini. It naturally moves that sexual energy up through you. It starts to open and pierce through all your chakras. It actually purifies you. It brings you into health, energetically and physically, right?
Oh, wow.
So it's an energy we want to encourage to move through us, right? But our society hasn't been doing that over many thousands of years now. Every time, or the belief systems that are like all the different religions, you know, when that energy starts to move, the belief systems come in and say guilt, shame, I shouldn't feel this way. Or it kind of goes the other way, which is instead of suppressing it, it's like you act out and way the other end of the
Unproductive ways.
spectrum.
so many teenagers do that, right?
Right.
It's actually destructive.
Okay.
So it's like we're human, so we always go to both ends of the extremes of this until you can kind of balance them both, bring them together. And I think that's
And
your question.
integrate.
And integrate it into the heart center, because that's what we're moving from, this mind to the heart. And the heart is love, right?
And I would say when people think the draw to someone is always sexual, and it's not. Our draw was through the heart.
love.
And young people don't have like all of this programming, all this suppression of emotion, all this confusion and pressure on them. And even adults, they're not connecting through the heart, they're connecting through their lower chakras.
Well, through the head in the corporate world, right?
And through that, yeah. So
It's
you-
all money, you know, it comes down to power and numbers
domination
Safety
and
and-
control.
yeah.
So through the heart and good practices, you know, just deep breathing, you know, 7-second breathing, and yin yoga is very good for opening up these lower chakras, healing them. I mean, they're actually healing for men and women. The distortions that's happened in our lower chakras, which is manifested itself looking, you know, in this sexual kind of you know, people are having lots of partners, and you know, that's not sacred really. So, you know, we aren't. We're just working with the energy within itself based on our own experience. I'll say we're not experts in this. This isn't what we do for a living. We're not counselors, you know, but it was really the going back into the heart
I love that.
and
That's
allowing it to be
wonderful.
really safe. And then the next step in the progression in that relationship unfolds naturally.
So you can relax and not
You're
worry
relaxed,
about
you're vulnerable,
Yeah.
you're just free, you can have joy.
and open.
Yes.
So we have some photos to show you.
Okay.
I want to make sure that our audience knows about your
Aw.
center. Is
Yeah,
this
this is in Ireland, and I
Oh,
picked this
okay.
one. We've traveled all over kind of the world, so to speak, and just different places, and we were called to Ireland. We were there seeing a woman named Jack O'Keefe. She's going to be in Chad's Ford.
Speaking at your center soon.
Speaking at the center last weekend of March. You can find out more on our website. And we were there, and we stayed in this little kind of hobbit house, which
That's
had
so
love over the
nice.
door. So that's
And
what we-
what's your website?
It's alchemyforsoul.com, and FOR spelled out. So
Okay.
yes.
So, and then we have a picture. Is
In Egypt, we traveled to Egypt. We did a lot of work with alchemy there, and we studied with an alchemist and learned oils, and we sell those oils. We've made special blends that are amazing, and you can only get them in Egypt. But we went to how many sites?
There's like 22 temples in 17 days.
Oh my
To
goodness.
pick up all these different temples, they have energies, right? They're like little power vortexes that we would go into, and that's really what alchemy is about. It's about bringing that consciousness into the physical matter. It's that
Yes.
and so, you know, the Egyptians had what we call Merkaba, light vehicles, and the electromagnetic field. So we were there learning about not only all the different modalities and picking up all the energies, but to take in this Merkaba work in a new way and share it with the West.
And they also really honored the sacred female, you know, the goddesses there. So, oh, and this is a yagya on our property. This is a friend of ours. He's a pundit. Michael worked with him extensively in India. He's world renowned, and he comes. We do free yagya, which are sacred fire ceremonies for the public. We have one coming up in May, and they're just. You may want to explain a little bit about
Yagyas they're from the Vedas, which is ancient Indian knowledge, 10,000 years old. And these boys learn from 6 years old at the ashram, chanting their whole life, these sacred Sanskrit mantras that are like create power vortex, or they're quantum power vortexes. But anyway, when they do these fire ceremonies, it is so good, not only for our individual transformation, but it creates that energy on the land, it creates the energy around the community. It serves on such a multi-dimensional level.
So how often are the fire ceremonies at your?
Well, the Panditji comes in probably 2 or 3 times a year, and those are the picture there.
And anyone can sign up to come?
Yeah, they're free on our website.
Okay.
You can also sponsor, which means you get to sit at the fire, which is very unusual. Even the women get to. In India, generally, a lot of the women can't. But at our house, I'm right there in the front by the fire. It's really amazing.
Oh,
and Alchemy does our own. We have every equinox, you know, the four times of the year.
Or on the full moon.
And the full moon. We'll do our
This
own
is
for our own
such
community.
A wild center. I can't believe in Chad's Ford.
Yeah.
We're going to definitely have to come check it out. So in addition to the fire ceremonies, you have some speakers there. Do you sell product there?
We
The
have,
oils?
it is a residential property, so we're there. We converted the barn into our meditation room. So we do meditations. We have guest speakers come. We've had art on our, a soul artist come, and she did a labyrinth walk and painting, and we've had
Kirtan,
musicians
singers,
come and
musicians.
sing with free concert for people to just come and hang out in an evening under the stars. Jack O'Keefe is coming the last week of March. She's written several books. She's funny, and it's in a very light kind of interactive structure, so that's really fun. So we do things, the products we do have there are, we have crystals, and we have handmade malas that are really quite beautiful. Michael brought things back from India that we have for sale there. So
They're
it's
mostly about
it's
transformational things that hold the energies, hold a high spiritual energy, like crystals and gems and
malas and
murtis.
Well, just sitting next to you both, I always feel that you're both carrying that wonderful energy, and it was such a pleasure having you on the show.
Oh, thank you.
I hope to come visit the center
Please.
and encourage you all to go visit it as well.
Yes.
Do you want to just mention the website again before?
Yeah, it's www.alchemy.com. And you can Google us find us. And our website is constantly being updated with our programs. And if we don't have a program, we're always open to suggestion. You had a great one for singles. We're open. Call us, email us. I mean, we had someone call us from Colombia yesterday that wants to come and do
We had a
sound healing.
macrobiotic corporate people that wanted.
Oh yeah, we had corporate people come in and bring their own macrobiotic people, and they did a whole program for the company.
Oh.
And just rented out our room,
Oh,
so
wow.
whatever you need to, we're here to serve
Oh, that's so
people in the
great.
community, and all of you finding love and health and just peace.
That's so nice. Well, thanks
Yeah.
again for coming on the show. We hope to hear some of your wonderful workshops and visit your website. And
Please,
I
yeah.
encourage everyone to go there and learn a little bit more about soul transformation and healthy relationships and how to find that special someone.
Yeah, thank you.